people in stock photos. What's the weirdest way you've seen your photos being used? I ended up finding myself on one of those now hiring posts on Facebook for a company I was trying to get hired at. He's literally the guy in the picture. Imagine going in for interviews and seeing this guy walking ahead of you and then looking at the wall and seeing his damn face on the hiring poster. When I was a kid, my mom took me for a photo shoot. Then a month later I was on a pamphlet that said millions of children don't have homes. Adopt one today. That's sad. Did you ever get adopted? No, it was to adopt a home for the kids. Every child deserves a pet house. My cousin took a photo of me wrestling my sister at a family reunion a few years back and it somehow wound up on an online forum about domestic abuse. I had a few of my friends messaging me who were obviously very confused. Lol. Why were a few of your friends on a domestic abuse forum? One person finds it and says, yo, is this Greg, to another, and it gets passed around. I did a stock photo shoot about 10 years ago and my photos show up in the weirdest places. 3 ex-boyfriends have texted me out of the blue after my stock photo showed up in their work training modules. Someone in my senior capstone class used my photo in their class presentation and didn't realize it was me until everyone kept awkwardly looking at the screen and looking back at me. Every so often, my face pops up in a sassy black lady meme, paired with text like "Devil don't try me today" or "Too blessed to be stressed." Type amen if you agree. The weirdest in my opinion. My mom decided to join some crappy MLM makeup company because she was flipping through their catalog and saw that they had used one of my old stock photos as one of their makeup models. I was very obviously not wearing their makeup in the photos and my stock photo didn't match any of the other models' photos. Basically, whoever designed the catalog was like, oh snap, we need some diversity in here, but they were too lazy to actually hire another model, so they just grabbed a stock photo of a black chick and called it a day. The strange thing is that my mom joined the company because my photo was in the catalog, but she had to have known that I wasn't wearing the company's makeup, because she personally did my makeup for that stock photo shoot 5+ years earlier. I'm in the header of my university's grad school application. Whenever someone posts a screenshot of their acceptance email, Facebook facial recognition asks if I want to tag myself. I would click yes on all of them just to confuse people. My family did a stock photo shoot when our kids were young, like 1 and 3. A picture they took on our porch ended up in the opening credits for The Americans. That's pretty cool. Is this you guys? Ha yep. What wrong with your face? It's like Japanese dicks. Yeah, no. I'm on the opposite end. I'm a graphic designer, so I spend a lot of time on stock photo sites and I have so many questions. Some of the photos I've seen, there's no possible context that would make sense for them to be used anywhere. Commercial photographer here. I looked into doing stock at one point, and the advice that was given was to shoot anything and everything as long as it's high res and good quality. Somebody out there is likely to use it. That's my guess as to why there's so many weird stock photos out there. It's just a numbers game for some photographers. I was asked to go to a big opening event party for a park in China. As a foreigner, this kind of thing is pretty common. They want some white faces, free food and amp drink. All the other guests had to pay. But in the end they start guilt tripping me. Put on this traditional Chinese costume, they say, some kind of kung fu looking robe thing. Let us take some pictures, they say. Fine. I let them do it. A few weeks go by and random people start pointing me out in public. My students are giggling in class. Finally, when I'm out and about, someone approaches me. Are you the guy from, and shows me a picture on the phone. My likeness in Chinese traditional wear has been printed on building-sized billboards around the city. I look goofy as all around the city where I live and work. My friend was in a stock photo where he held up a baby picture, and it got used for an anti-circumcision ad campaign. Was pretty shocked when I saw his face on the side of a bus. I'm legitimately in tears laughing at this. It's just so absurd to see your friend's face on the side of bus being anti-circumcision. This takes place many years ago when foreigners were a rare sight in Japan. I'm a big, friendly looking white guy, and I was asked to do some photos of a couple on a date. So I go around to some scenic locals with a beautiful Japanese woman. the photographer, and his assistants. Fun day. Took tons of romantic photos. And that was the end of it. Until a month or two later when my date and I showed up on posters all over the subway as part of an AIDS awareness campaign. Because you can catch that from foreigners, you know. Needless to say, my friends and co-workers thought it was hilarious, and amazingly it didn't have any noticeable impact on my dating life. Looking back, my only regret is that I didn't steal one of the posters. Similar thing happened to my trainer a couple years ago. He was running a marathon for an AIDS benefit. One of the things people don't realize is your participation often includes a waiver for all photos taken at the event. His finish line photo becomes the face of overcoming AIDS adversity in a big ad campaign. The problem is he trains a bunch of boxing and MMA guys. You cannot participate in those sports if you have AIDS and other blood transmitted diseases. So it created a big issue for him with some of his pro clients. I have some friends that found one of their wedding pictures from Facebook somehow printed on a pillow in a market in a Middle Eastern country. Like, they just randomly happened upon their wedding photo in a random street market. They are from the US. I got used as a person with intellectual disabilities. I also did not know my photo was going to be used for anything. Maybe your inability to make medium-term memories is why this was a shock to you. Utterly savage r/rare insult. Whoa, there wasn't expecting an r/roast meal mayo. In college, a photography student took some pictures of me playing classical guitar. I ended up in a Viagra ad. I was 19. College must have been rough. Yeah, my penis still has scars. I let a photographer friend take a stock photo of me. I look sad in it and it ended up on some website about victims of abuse. My whole family modeled back in the 80s. Somehow my dad ended up in a brochure for some born-again church that said he was a sinner and adulterer until he found Jesus. Edit, this thing blew up. Thanks for my first gold, kind stranger. Not me, but my younger brother had his picture taken when he was about 9 or 10 for the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. My brother was a really cute red-headed kid with freckles and they asked my mom if they could use his photo for their promotional materials. A few months later, we get a brochure in the mail with my brother's face on it talking about the Big Brothers program. It was really funny because they had changed his name to Timmy and in little kid handwriting written things like, "I really need a big brother and have you found me a big brother yet?" and then ended it with "Love, Timmy." My siblings and I laughed a lot over it and called my brother Timmy for weeks. Edit, wow. My first gold. Thanks, kind stranger. This will definitely be passed along. When I was 17, a friend of mine asked me if I could help him with some pictures he was working on for a project for college. We used our other friend's attic and he took a couple of pictures of me in a suit in front of a typewriter. He really liked one of the pictures and he ended up asking me if I would be okay with him having it be part of a small gallery show he was doing at the local coffee shop. They often had a small show and then put up the work to decorate the place, and if people were interested they could buy them. I told him that I didn't mind and it was cool seeing my picture up at a place we went to so often. Well, my picture ended up actually being bought, which I did not expect at all. So, there is someone out there that has a framed picture of me, possibly decorating their wall or mantle, which is weird to think. He gave me a print for myself of it, and it is a pretty cool picture. It's not stock photography, but it's definitely something that's strange for me to think about. I had my photo taken in high school studying with my friend at the time. Almost 5 years later, my brother said I was in the county brochure for library services. The picture was most likely chosen cause of the diversity, Asian girl and a black girl. I'm in an ad campaign in my home state in Australia for the government. I'm the face of don't buy alcohol for underage people. It's just me looking like a dad who's thinking of buying a drink, obviously for a teenager somewhere. Ironically, I don't actually have my own kids. I get emails from people I haven't heard from in years saying I saw you on the wall of the bottle shop, which is kinda funny. My father is a photographer and so my sister and I were models for stock photography. I was on shopping bags in Mexico, my sister was in a bank brochure. My favorite though is when my sister's high school science class was reading from a textbook and she sees a picture of me putting mascara on in a mirror. She yelled out to the class, "Hey, that's my sister." Apparently it gave everyone a good laugh. On a less funny note, I was a kinda chubby kid, so my dad did a whole shoot of me in a grey tracksuit looking sad on a scale and pinching my belly fat in the mirror, etc. Ended up on being used in a child obesity campaign. He didn't tell me what it was used in until years later. Thanks for watching. Now here are some cute puppies.